We circle the car park, but there are no spaces. Nothing better than not being able to park at the fucking crime scene, Tyler groans. He drives back to the seafront, and we eventually find a spot, but need to pay. The wedding guests were told they aren't permitted to leave, so it's not really surprising the hotel's parking area was chock-a-block. The walk to the hotel is too picturesque for my liking. The sun sparkles on the sea, and the buildings look no worse than slightly crumbling. I slow down to carefully step over a dead rat with its guts splattered across the ground. The rodent isn't really there, judging by the odd look Tyler gives me, but I've learned the hard way not to assume the gross isn't real. A woman approaches us. "Excuse me, do you know how I get to the farmer's market?" she asks in a non-local accent. I point behind us. "That way. It's quite a walk, but keep going straight and you can't miss it." The woman thanks me and hurries off. "Isn't it just ahead on the right?" Tyler says, but she's already out of earshot. "Yep." Tyler laughs. He's used to my ways, but I can tell he feels sorry for the woman. "Do I look like a sat-nav?" I vent, trying to justify my actions because I can't share the real reason I lied. We slip under the police crime scene tape at the hotel entrance, showing the officers our ID badges. A member of hotel staff escorts us down to the swimming pool. "What have we got, Freddy?" Tyler calls out to our forensic examiner.
"A reason to stay single,"
Freddy replies. He's crouched next to the soaked corpse of a bride. She's lying face down at the side of the pool in a dress that used to be white. It's now stained pink, as is the pool water. The hotel staff look appalled as Tyler laughs at Freddy's joke. They don't understand that when you see as many bodies as we do, humor is a coping mechanism.
"You know the drill. I can't be certain before the full autopsy,"
Freddy begins.
"but it appears she was struck to the back of the head and knocked injured or unconscious into the pool, where she drowned."
I'm confident Freddy's initial assessment is correct. He's incredibly talented, and our precinct is fortunate to have him. Almost as lucky as they are to have me. Tyler and I go back upstairs. The wedding guests are congregated in the dining hall. Some are wearing rumpled wedding finery, but most are in pajamas or casual clothes. "Not again," I mutter. It's my previous story in reverse. At least, I think it is. I have a curse. You've probably heard the saying, "It's what's on the inside that counts." That's certainly true when you're around me. I can separate a saint from a narcissist just by looking at their face. If you want to know more about this, listen to my first story. This one will make more sense if you do. A link to my playlist is in the description. Last time, none of the suspects had the disfigurations only I can see that reveal they're rotten on the inside. This time, they all do. Aside from a few children, the entire wedding party have skin covered in mold, warts, exposed flesh, or decay. Some are worse than others. One man has worms crawling in a hollow eye socket. You wouldn't want to run into any of these people in a dark alleyway. I think so, anyway. My visions have been screwing up recently. I'm only getting split-second flashes of the rotten wedding guests in a dilapidated dining hall. The rest of the time, they look like ordinary people in a room fit for 5-star clientele. I take out my phone and pretend to be checking a text while snapping a photo of the people in front of me. I send it to Corey with the caption, "Bad people?" He replies straight away, "The worst." A 2-word answer to my 2-word question. It confirms that my glimpses of ugliness are accurate. This room is full of brutal, selfish, and downright evil people. It also corroborates what I've been fearing for a few weeks, that despite my best efforts to remain a horrible person, my curse is fading. Corey says I look better than Aiden now. That's when I really started to worry. Aid has pretty much lost the curse, but Corey's never shaken it. I should look grotesque to him. We don't even bother with the blindfolds in the bedroom anymore. "Any ideas?" Tyler whispers. He knows from experience that I can often correctly identify the killer, seemingly at random. None at all. Let's start with him. We approach eye socket worm man, although he's currently invertebrate-free.
"When can we leave? I'm a busy man,"
he barks at us. How well did you know the bride? I ask.
"Don't ignore me. When can I leave?"
Not before you answer my questions, I reply. He won't be allowed to depart the hotel until he's been fingerprinted by a uniformed officer and given the go-ahead by Freddie and our superior. If he doesn't live locally, he'll be required to stay in town. But I don't mention this.
"Humph. The groom is my nephew. Why he married that trollop I'll never know. He should be thanking his lucky stars he's free of her."
I follow his gaze across the room to a distraught-looking man. The room flashes monstrous again. The groom appears to be experiencing genuine grief, but that doesn't make him a kind person. 1 minute, I say, excusing myself, leaving Tyler to continue questioning Worm Man. I hurry back to the pool. The victim, Dinah Williams, is now in a body bag, being lifted onto a gurney. Can I see her face? I ask. The paramedics exchange a confused glance, but Freddie nods, so one of them unzips the bag, revealing a face tarnished only by death. It doesn't seem appropriate to take a photo to send to Corey. The crime scene photographer would have already captured the images we need, so I keep blinking, praying my curse won't fail me. The room changes for a second. The pool water turns grimy, and the floor slick with dirt. But Dinah's face stays the same. She was a sheep among wolves. I return to Tyler with renewed determination to catch the bastard that killed her. We speak to the guests one by one. A few are still drunk and incoherent, but we manage to get their names and addresses from others, checking ID to confirm this where possible. Those that went to bed before 1 a.m. say the bride and groom were still partying when they retired. Either that or they didn't see them but assumed they were about. Enough people report wishing them good night for us to surmise that the murder took place after this time. Those that stayed up claim the newlyweds left the party between 1 and 3, the time varying depending on who you ask.
"I checked my watch. I assure you it was 1:45 on the dot,"
an elderly man insists.
Did Dinah get eaten by a crocodile?
A little girl asks Tyler. No, honey, I've told you there aren't crocodiles in the pool, replies a woman I assume to be the girl's mother.
But Ben said he saw one.
The girl protests before dashing off to join the other children. I'm sorry, her brother likes to scare her, the mother tells us. I saw the girl scuffling with a boy a few years older when we arrived. They reminded me of myself and Aid at that age.
"Children had manners in my day,"
moans the elderly man. Next, we go to the groom's room to question him. He left the dining hall earlier complaining of a migraine. We knock several times before he answers the door.
"I'm sorry to intrude,"
Tyler says.
"We need to ask you a few questions. What time did you and Dinah leave the party, and where did you go?"
We came back here and passed out. Or at least I did. Dinah wasn't here when I woke. His sentence trails off as he becomes too choked up to speak. This man is far from a model citizen, but my gut tells me he didn't kill his wife. The problem is, it could have been any one of the friends and family members downstairs. We end up leaving at the same time as many of the guests. Some are staying at the hotel until they're permitted to return to homes across the country. Back at the station, we conduct research and background checks on the suspects. Despite being the worst of the worst, many of the wedding guests hold prominent positions in society. The elderly man has donated millions to charity, Worm Man is a top brain surgeon, and the groom's cousin is a popular candidate running in the upcoming local election. He also organizes daily patrols of a suicide hotspot. His team chaperones the area, often successfully talking people down from the edge and giving them hope for the future. His name is Ben Donegan. My mind replays the little girl's voice.
But Ben said he saw one.
I'm suddenly convinced it wasn't her brother Ben that told her there were crocodiles in the swimming pool. It was Donegan. I can think of only one reason why he'd do that. We drive to the girl's family home. After some resistance from the mother, she lets us speak to her daughter. "You're not in any trouble, sweetie," I assure her. "But we need to know who told you about the crocodiles in the pool."
Uncle Ben?
"When did he tell you that?" Tyler asks. She looks at her mother with uncertainty. "It's okay, Lottie."
Me and Karis were going to sneak into the pool and go swimming. Mommy and Auntie Anna said we wouldn't have time in the morning, and we weren't allowed yesterday because of the wedding. We were going to meet at the bottom of the stairs near the changing room. I was waiting for Karis and I saw Uncle Ben. He said I had to go back because there was a crocodile in the pool. He said we couldn't tell anyone. We tried to go swimming because the pool was closed and we'd get arrested. Will Mommy and Ben be able to visit me in prison? Not Uncle Ben. He won't have to visit because he'll also be in prison for going swimming. My brother's called Ben as well."
"You're not going to be arrested, sweetie," I tell her. "You've been very helpful. Do you know what time it was when you saw Uncle Ben?"
I was meeting Karis at 2 o'clock in the morning. That's the latest I've ever stayed up. But I was early. Or maybe Karis was late? I saw her on the way back to my room and I told her we couldn't go swimming because I was scared of crocodiles. She was mean and called me a baby.
"Did Karis see Ben?"
No, he left the stairs before me.
We thank Lottie and her mother for their time. "We can place Donegan near the swimming pool at the approximate time of death," I say in a meeting with Tyler and our supervisor, Brett Samuels. "It's circumstantial evidence at best," Tyler replies. "I've just heard from Freddie in forensics. There's no evidence placing Donegan at the pool. There's also nothing from the autopsy to suggest he was involved. I trust your instincts, but I don't see how we can charge him."
I'm afraid I agree with Officer Kincaid, Samuels tells me. Unless we can unearth more, the case will be thrown out of court. Benjamin Donegan has an alibi, does he not?
Yes, and the CCTV from the hotel was destroyed. One member of staff says his colleague admitted Donegan paid him to erase the footage, but the colleague in question denies this, and their manager says they have a history of infighting, so nothing they say about each other is reliable.
We need more to make an arrest. Keep digging, Samuel says.
Our research on Donegan proves much the same as that on the rest of the family. There's the odd indiscretion here and there and accusations that never made it before a judge. The groom faced a serious assault charge 2 years ago, but the victim later dropped the charges, presumably after being paid off. I'm sure there are dangerous currents below, but all is calm on the surface. There's nothing for which we can charge them, and no evidence Donegan killed Dinah. We interviewed Dinah's former flatmate. She says although they had drifted apart in recent years, she knows her friend aspired to be an investigative journalist, but struggled to break into the industry, narrowly missing out on junior reporter jobs. She thought Dinah had given up on her dreams, but now suspects the same thing I do, that she was investigating her husband's family. She might not have married for love, but I don't like to speculate. If she had something on Ben Donegan, we don't find it on her devices or in her home. I refuse to give up, but the case eventually reaches a stalemate, and Samuels moves us on to other tasks. I've never had a case go cold before, and I hate the thought of Donegan not paying the price for what he's done. I wait for the cover of darkness and put on one of the disguises I use when I don't want to be recognized during my childish antics. My hat covers the wig's roots, and contouring alters my face. I get the bus to the cliff road so my car isn't picked up by cameras. I'm in luck. Donegan is the chaperone on duty tonight and there's nobody else here. I pretend I haven't seen him and wander to the cliff edge. The wind feels like ice.
You don't have to do this,
Ben calls out, approaching me.
I convinced myself it wouldn't come to this.
I tell him truthfully in a fake accent. I don't turn to look at him and tighten my scarf around the bottom half of my face so he won't recognize me. He senses my distress but assumes it's for the wrong reasons, as he feels comfortable stepping closer. It doesn't have to, he responds.
Actually, it does.
I reply.
For people.
Like Dinah. His face creases with alarm, but I've already stepped back and raised my leg. I don't give myself time to hesitate or change my mind before kicking him over the edge. He doesn't scream as he falls. I watch him hit the waves below. From this height, it must feel like concrete. The tide will take his body, and there's a high chance he will never be found, and if he is, by that point, any physical evidence connecting me to his corpse will be long gone. Nobody gets away with murder better than those that catch killers for a living. The curse is back in full force as I travel to Corey's house on autopilot. There's a disgusting stench on the bus that I doubt exists because it's so pungent other passengers would be commenting. "What have you done?" Corey asks when he opens the door. He sounds concerned. I forgot he would be able to see the change. "You look hideous," he adds. The heavy blanket that's covered my world since the cliff top lifts for a moment, and I almost smile when I reply, "So do you."